YouTube? This is Grind247 coming with a new video on model making and whatnot. Recently there have been a lot of complaints that the new spellbook that Jagex just came out with, necromancy, doesn't have any combat spells or teleports, so I came up with my new idea for a list of different combat spells. This happens to be the highest level required combat spell. Thinking about 96 or 98 would be required. You would also require the ancient spellbook to be able to cast this spell, or at least the quest. You can't have both spellbooks at the same time, so you just need the quest. So this spell is called Revitalization, and the idea is that you're revitalizing the crystals from each of the guys you slay in Desert Treasure into dragons or wyverns, and they all four attack whoever you cast a spell on simultaneously. The thing about this is each cast would be 2 times longer than it would normally take for any other type of spell cast. So really you'd be doing 2 hits in the same amount of time that you do 1 normal spell cast. Another thing that would happen is each of these guys would be, their max hit you could hit with mage would be reduced. So if like you could hit, I don't know what the exact number is, a 32 with ice burst or barrage, then you can only hit 1/3 of that hit. So you would hit about a 10 would be the max hit per guy. So your max hit right now would be 40. But the cool thing about this is you have a chance, if this one hits, to deal the ice freezing time. That's also cut by 1/3. So if I hit you with this, and normally it freezes for like 15 or 25 seconds, then really it only freezes for like 5 or 10 seconds. If I hit you with the blood, same idea. It can still do the effect, but it's cut by 1/3. So normally if my blood would heal me, I don't know, 15 HP, now it's only healing me 5 because it's cut by 1/3. Everything is cut by 1/3. Now the blood in particular probably wouldn't be cut by 1/3 that way, because it's based off of what you deal, and since that's already cut by 1/3 and your max damage is only a 10 from the blood, you would only be able to heal a max of what, like 3 HP. I forget, I don't know exactly how it works, but the whole idea is that no matter what, all these effects are cut by 1/3, whether it be because the damage is cut or just because it's a time-based thing and it's cut by 1/3. So the idea is you'd cast the spell on another player, and 3 little dragon heads, these would be very small. A player model, let's keep into consideration, compared to these models, is about as tall as my cursor. So each of these dragon wyverns aren't full-size wyverns, and they would each take up 1 square in game. But anyways, you would cast it on a player, and you would see 4 of these dragon heads go into the ground around the player, thus taking the large amount of time for this spell to actually cast. Is because you have to cast it. They would go into the ground, and then another animation would happen, which these dragons would come out of the ground, 1 hand at a time. This hand comes out of the ground, starts grabbing the ground and trying to pull out, while this one comes out and uses support as its head comes out and whatnot. So like each dragon would take a decent amount of time for it to come out of the ground. And if they don't want it to be all a simultaneous hit, you could have it take 4 times the time, and have what it does is your player casts this guy, then that guy, then that guy, then that guy, and he does those at double the rate you would normally cast a spell. So that way, in the time you would cast 1 spell, you're still casting 2 spells. And this guy would come out of the ground, hit, and this guy would come out of the ground, hit, and that one, and then that one. And your max hit would still only be a 40 per spell, and with a slight chance of actually doing all the effects. Another thing with this, keep in mind, is that you have 10 chances of actually missing the hit, or 4 chances, a quarter of the chance, because there's 4 dragons, and you're only dealing a 1/3 of the damage. So like, it's, for the highest spell in the game, it does deal more damage, but you have a lot less chance of you actually getting a max hit, because it's 4 random numbers that have to be generated that you have to hit 100, basically. If it's 1 to 100, for you to get your max hit of 10, 10, 10, and 10, in order for you to get that, you're going to have to randomly generate 90 plus every time. So it's very unlikely that you'll actually get the max hit. The reason why I'm going into this much detail for this idea is because I don't want people to think, oh, it's going to be overpowered like Dragon Claws and whatnot, because they hit so many times and so fast, and like, that's why I'm giving you the multiple different ways that this spell can come out. Another idea for this is to make it when you hit 99, if it takes 96 to cast this spell, make it so at every level, you could actually customize what each dragon does. So like, at 96 you get one of each. At 97 you can choose this one, I think it's smoke or dust, one of those is weaker, but at level 97 you can change the weaker one. At 98 you can change this one, and then at 99 you can change this one, and while your skill cape is equipped you can change the fourth one if you would like, which would be ice. So at level 99 without a skill cape you can have 1 ice and 3 bloods, or 1 ice or 4 ices, you know what I'm saying? And then at level 99 with the skill cape you can have all 4 bloods, you know what I'm saying? So like, the higher level you are, you can change the actual effects on what dragons actually spawn when you cast the spell, which is really cool. And now, the idea also is that it'll take 4 runes for each, or 1 rune for each dragon of the respected type thing. So like, you would need water runes, you would need blood runes and fire runes, I think it is. You would need all the runes for each dragon, you know what I'm saying? But if you had the mage level for only ice, you'd only need the ice runes for just all 4 ice dragons, or just 2 ice and 2 blood. This would be a really good spell, and I feel like this spell book really needs it, considering it has no attack spells. And the other ones I have coming out are sort of similar ideas, but with different monsters and whatnot. And you could even throw in the idea of it takes 1 ensouled dragon head to actually cast this spell, which would, 1, raise the price of those a lot, and make sure that they're high and people don't use those as the only way to make to train their prayer experience. And also it would make it a lot harder for people to actually cast this spell, considering you can only cast it 25 times in your inventory with a full inventory of ensouled dragon heads. I am hoping that they release a dragon or a head pouch so that you can store more than certain heads and then make more uses out of them. Because right now, training prayer with heads and running back to the bank back and forth, which I have tried, is very horrible. And honestly, I would only do it if I got the heads from Slayer. I will never buy these heads because it's ridiculous. I did the math. In about 1 hour, I was getting about like 78,000 experience in prayer, and I was spending about 8.23, I think it was, GP per experience, when Dragon Bones are 13 GP experience per experience, so it's about 5 more GP per experience, but it's more than 2 times the experience an hour. It's 250,000 experience an hour with it automatically doing it. If you manually tick click and do each bone yourself, you're getting roughly around 450,000 experience an hour. So for time, it is horrible. So I'm hoping they add a head pouch so that you don't have to run back to the bank and get heads, and that'll also make this a much more practical idea. Well, if you like the idea, please like, comment, subscribe, and another idea for this is I want to add this into my city idea, as you have to actually do something in the city I'm coming out with to unlock this spell, thus combining both spell books. Like, basically, you do something in my city and it'll enchant the last, the NPC would like enchant your spell book and give you this spell. So not every player could just alp to 99 and use this spell right off the bat. You'd actually have to do Desert Treasure and something else in the new city that I've been designing this for a while now and thinking of ideas for. So I think that'll definitely top it off. Alright, thank you for watching, and as always, have a nice day.